we go. What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. We might have to do this on a weekly basis, man. I got my guy Eric Sojash in the house. What's up, buddy? How we doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. It's good. You know, it's been so long since I've done the hour-long pods, man. It's nice to get back here and just talk football.
For sure. Football's it's amazing. It's this time of the season, this time of the year, it's everything.
Lots of things changing, lots of things going down, but we're going to do some recap before we get into some topics. Recap time, Buffalo Bills Squish the Fish week was nice. I'm going to pump it up because, all the Fish fans, and I get it, their team was good, their team is good, and the Bills just took it to them, just waxed them. It was glorious. Allen looked great. Diggs looked amazing. Bills defense absolutely stifled the high-octane speed track team of Tyreek and Waddle. Impressive show. It came at a cost, though. We lost Trey to the Achilles, which hurts, but we are getting Vaughn back. What did you see in this Bills team that makes you think they could be the best team in the NFL?
I do have to I got to give it up to them. I got to eat some chow on that one. I was completely wrong on that. I might have jumped the gun with Miami there. I'm very confident in Miami, but I'm going to pump the brakes on pushing them against Big Brother. That felt like one of those episodes where you run into Big Brother and little brother got reminded why he's the little brother, and you got to go back to the gym and figure some things out before you try to step to Big Brother again. That's what that game reminded me of. Buffalo was prepared. They took this game very serious. They took this game personal. I felt like they took it a little personal, and it showed, right? Miami, I still think they're one of the top teams, top 7, 6 teams in the NFL. But this was a reminder that this is a week-to-week league, and when you're going against one of the top elite teams, you got to have all of your phases hitting, and they weren't quite ready for that matchup, and it showed.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the differences that I've seen after 4 weeks with the Bills this year to subsequent years is what was I harping on this entire offseason? We discuss things a lot when it comes to just football in general. I was saying, give Josh Allen a viable run game. And when we drafted a James Cook, I was excited. I said, yes, you know what? At least we have the opportunity. Yeah, there were some question marks. Can he run consistently in between the tackles? Can he handle 220-plus touches from the backfield? But the way this team is put together right now, it's almost like the entire front office, the coaching staff, McDermott, and all of them understand that, it should not just be on Josh Allen. Josh is a freak. He's going to make plays on his own. But he needed all those supportive pieces. And what I love the most about this Bills team, the 12 personnel sets that they do, constantly having double tight end sets, allows the Bills to be, multi-dimensional with their running backs. They got Lat Murray, they got Damian Harris, and they're barely even utilized at this point. And James Cook is running free. When a time comes where the Bills got to kill the clock, Lat and Harris are coming in, and they're doing the business. That's exactly what this Bills team did not have in the past, the ability to close out games. And now we're seeing it. I'm so happy we got a run game.
You got to be happy. Latavius Murray's turning back the clock. I don't know what that guy's workout regimen is, but he still looks phenomenal. James Cook looks like that is a fantastic pick for you guys. And like you said, you guys are leaning on other pieces outside of Josh, which allows Josh to just look like the alien that he is. This Sunday was another performance where he made a couple throws early in the game that I was just shaking my head like this guy's unbelievable. So I see why Bills fans feel good. Woke up feeling really good. You guys look like you're on top of the league again.
Yep.
Like we said, it's a week-to-week league. This week, I won't argue with anyone that says Buffalo looks like the best team in the NFL, or at least the best team in the AFC.
Sure.
San Francisco's still doing their thing on the NFC side, but I wouldn't argue that. But I am pumping the brakes on going too far with my premonitions these days. This year, if any year, you gotta watch out. It's a week-to-week league for sure.
100%. And it doesn't say anything bad about Miami because they still are very good. But it just shows how beatable they can be. And McDermott's defense absolutely was brilliant. And this kid, Bernard, I was talking to you earlier about Bernard. Unbelievable. I thought he was good. I didn't think he was this good. The guy in coverage just can make plays. He's always around the football. I love it. But on tap, the Bills got the Jags in London, the Giants, the Patriots, the Bucks, the Bengals, the Broncos, and then the Jets. This could legit be 7 wins if the Bills keep playing the way they're going.
Absolutely. Preseason, remember we were talking, I told you, I see these Bills putting up 14 wins this year, 13 wins. The schedule was favorable. We know they've been knocking on the door and they just needed to deal with the drama. And it looks like all that drama is gone. How many touchdowns did they have this week? 3 touchdowns together. So
Three
there's no
touchdowns.
drama.
Well,
These
there's
guys are
good.
best friends. Everything's copacetic. So
That's right.
yeah, all the problems that we thought or that the media was perceiving as an issue there's no problem. So this team is right back to being a dominant force. And yeah, as long as they keep clicking and focus week to week, don't have a letdown like week one. Because you can't see a team like we saw this week. How do they lose to a team that's out of nowhere throwing Zach Wilson in the game 3 seconds into a game? They should never lose to a team like that. And after what you see here, I think they've kind of told themselves that as well. Like, yo, this is how we have to play. We have to be focused. This is our year to get it. This is what Stephon Diggs has been screaming about. So hopefully they keep that mindset week in and week out, and we're going to see a different Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, man. 3 tutties for Diggs. The bromance is back and healthy, and that's what we like to see. We'll recap your Eagles, too. Fly, Eagles, fly! I mean, they survived a push from these Washington Commanders. The commies, they came after y'all. And, okay, you know, when I talked about Sam Howell the previous week versus the Buffalo Bills, I predicted the Bills were going to humble Sam Howell, to which they did. So I was piggybacking, like you said, it's a week-to-week league, so my recency bias was definitely on display. And I was like, okay, with this Eagles defensive front, which I do believe is probably one of the best, if not the best in the entire league, they're just so good. There's so many talented ballers on that line. I thought that they would have took care of business like the Bills did, giving Sam Howell no opportunity to do anything. And I mean, grown-ass man, he had a big day. A.J. Brownie was just all over the field, and we just didn't see, you know, the Eagles' defense dominate. The secondary aside, we know that they're, you know, we've got some holes, they got some injuries, not playing up to par. But, I mean, what did you see with how they played defensively that they just couldn't get after Sam Howell enough to, you know, put the game away early and often?
They had a lot of movement up front. They had a lot of pressure, but they never actually seemed like they could just finish the play or they could actually get to him. They did stifle the run game pretty good as well. Just something's missing there. I don't know if it's the Hassan Reddick injury to his thumb, and it's causing him to, you know, have a little bit of dip in his production so far. But there's something that's missing. We're not seeing the same attack on the quarterback that we'd seen previously. And then on offense, it's kind of up and down right now. The drives aren't consistent. So yeah, I can see why people are a little concerned with what's going on in Philly. Now they did lose both coordinators, right? We lost our offensive coordinator, we lost our defensive coordinator coming into the season. So I think it was to be expected that it would take a few weeks to get things clicking, to get everybody on the same page, to get acclimated with the new terminology. No, granted, they're probably running the same offense, but it's not the same guy calling the plays. It's not the same, you know, rhythm that they had before. So it does take time to get used to that. So I think there's just like a familiarity they got to get used to and just kind of getting everything acclimated. But 4-0 is still 4-0, right? There's only
4-0.
two teams that can say that right now. There's only two that can say that. So I'll take the wins. You know, you got to take them where you can get them. One week AJ's crying. Next week AJ's catching touchdowns and he's showboating. Almost cost us the game. I wasn't too happy about that. But yeah, I do see the Eagles as a team that a lot of people expected to take another step forward. And maybe they're at the same level they were at last year. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just doesn't mean they're maybe a powerhouse elite team early on this season.
Well, remember when we were talking last year, and I was saying they weren't necessarily battle tested, and then they still made it to the Super Bowl just based on the fact of competition in the NFC. I want to say more than how they were battle tested. Yeah, they got tested late, but I mean, can we still say, like, even when we're talking about the Buffalo Bills, they've been battle tested over and over again. They just can't get over that hump. The Eagles got over the hump without necessarily being truly battle tested, and I mean, maybe that's part of it as well. I don't even feel this team as being a cocky squad. I don't think they're feeling themselves at all whatsoever. They're hardworking. Their dedication to the craft and process is there. I think they're very well coached under Sirianni. But there's just, like you said, there's something off about this, almost as if, you know, all the pickups that they did, all the UGA players that they do have, it's almost like that culture coming from UGA is coming here, but they just don't know how to translate it to, you know, win in the NFL just yet the way that they're supposed to win. But like you said, 4-0 is 4-0. Ugly wins are ugly wins. Does not matter. It's all wins in the win column. But like you're saying, if they do go up against a 49ers club right now, I wonder, like, do you think this is, I don't want to say nothing's easy, but do you think that it's more stressful as for you as a fan than it would be, say, late last year?
Honestly, I'm not surprised by what we're seeing right now. as a fan and as an analyst of the Eagles, I see it as this is what they are. I think people overstated kind of how they thought Jalen Hurts was going to be a all-run quarterback, and the Eagles were, a team that was heading towards rebuilding. The Carson Wentz contract was going to hurt us. Carson Wentz fell off a cliff. We just won the Super Bowl. None of the guys from that team, other than the couple O linemen, were returning, and a couple or I think it's just Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, and then a couple O linemen. So I think people were kind of down on the Eagles. Where I was still like, no, this is a pretty good roster, and Jalen Hurts is a pretty good quarterback. Just see if he grows. Then they caught kind of lightning in the bottle, had, like you said, a favorable schedule, and went all the way to the Super Bowl. So now people are like, oh no, this team's amazing. They're not amazing either. That's where we're kind of going too far. They're kind of a team that's still building. They have very good pieces. They have very good veterans. And I think the young pieces are still getting acclimated. We haven't seen Kobe Dean really hit the ground running. Jalen Carter's been fantastic. Jordan Davis is still getting there. He's not dominant yet. So the young pieces are still growing. So I think it's a team that kind of had a favorable schedule, exceeded expectations, kind of hit or reached their ceiling and reached it early. And now people are kind of expecting them to take another step when it's a gradual process. And they haven't had those competition yet. They haven't played Buffalo, Kansas City, Dallas, San Francisco. But guess what? We play them this year,
It's
and we
coming.
play them back to back to back
It's coming.
to back.
It's
So
coming.
everything that everyone's worried about, all those questions that we have, they're going to be answered one way or another. We're going to see if the Eagles are legit, if they play up to their competition and down to their competition, which is kind of how I feel it's going to play out. I think we're going to, like you saw in the Super Bowl, we weren't outmatched by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
For a team that had no great matchups last year, we played the best team in the league, and we should have won the game. I'm standing by it. We outplayed them in that game. We lost the game to the better quarterback, but I think the team that you see is a team that can play up to competition and down to competition.
Yeah, I like the evaluation because, I mean, it's hard to argue because my biggest problem with Jalen Hurts was always, can his passing aptitude be uplifted to that next level? And I'm sorry, I ate my words last year. I'm convinced. I think that everything he does on the field, and it's the mantra of, does the receiver uplift the quarterback or does the quarterback uplift the wide receivers? And clearly when A.J. Brown came, grown-ass man, he's obviously able to give something to Jalen Hurts that he requires to be that guy. But in that sense, it also helps that Jalen Hurts become that guy in the same realm as well, if that makes sense. He's going to keep lifting his game to the point where eventually he's going to uplift wide receivers rather than the opposite. And I kind of feel like it's middle ground right now. Like, we're seeing how A.J. Brown gets frustrated, can't get open, and then Jalen's finding like the wide receivers with pinpoint accuracy. So it's a little bit of both. You're seeing this maturation process happen. The Eagles are nice. I mean, what can I say? 4-0 is good, and the defense, I just expected more. But hey, my guy Sam Howell, he made me look good because I've been promoting his ass for a long time.
Yeah, gave me a scare. He gave me a scare.
Yeah, he was nice, man. He was good. These Bengals, we got to talk about these broken Bengals once again. I mean, is this beyond repair? This is where I'm going already. Yes, we are in week 4. Yes, it is still early in the season. But we're in danger territory if you're a Cincinnati Bengal fan, in my opinion, because Joey B still dealing with the injury, and he clearly does not look like himself. This offense is not rolling in the same direction it was in previous years. You're not seeing as many deep shots whatsoever. Higgins goes down with fractured ribs. He's gone likely 2 to 4 weeks. This is a problem, and you're 1-3 in a division that's highly competitive. It's going to continue to be highly competitive. Chase keeps saying he's effing open. He's starting the, okay, I know you said it wasn't drama on your end, but it's already the prequel to what drama could turn into, because he's clearly not happy right now. And when that bubbles to the top, we saw it with Stephon Diggs. I mean, we put the assertion that, Diggs, if things go poorly, he's going to want an exit out of Buffalo, but when things go good, he's going to be okay. I mean, I guess that could be said for any player in the NFL, but when you're talking about marquee guys like Chase and Diggs, you got to kind of take notice and say, yeah, he's really not happy with what's going on, and I really, truly think this Bengals team is almost at the point of beyond repair for this season.
Yeah, this season's looking like a lost season. These guys are probably going to be playing for their paychecks and, for their acclamations and their stats and for future, stat padding and things of that nature. Right now, wins, losses, championships, division titles, doesn't seem like it's in their cards. But I don't see this as an issue. I think he was just being real. I think Jamar's just young. He's a little young, and he was just, emotional at the time. And I think he's just being completely real. And he can be, because they are legit friends. I strongly believe that him and Joe Burrow are friends on and off the field. prior to, their relationship in Cincinnati. They obviously had a bond at LSU. So I believe he's just, telling it like it is. Like, listen, man, I'm always open. My guy's hurt. He can't get me the ball. I'm not trying to make him look bad. I'm just going to tell you exactly how I feel. And I'll tell it to him. I think he literally, because remember, before the season started, he did say, I want him to sit. If it's up to
Yeah.
me, he won't play. So now he's basically doubling down on his previous statement, being like, man, I'm open. So It ain't me. Must be somebody else. And I told somebody to sit down. And that's kind of how I'm seeing the way things are breaking down over there. Jamar he's frustrated, and he should be. He wants to win. He wants to win badly. He got a taste of what it's like to go far and almost get the trophy. They were this close. So when you're that close, and now to have to deal with a losing streak and a potential missing the playoffs and all that, and then the reporters are going to ask you about it, I don't blame him. It's emotions running hot, but I don't think it's going to cause any rift between him and Joe. I definitely do see this as a long-term problem, though, because Joe's not getting healthy. The first thing Zach Taylor, sorry, I lost the name there for a second. The first thing Zach Taylor said at his presser was he's good enough to play. So he's going to be playing again. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any changes this week. And I don't see how that's going to lead up to any more W's or any more production. Even if it's not W's, you just want to see production right now. You're not even seeing that.
That's right.
So yeah, I'm not sure. What do you think on it? That's kind of where I lay on it.
No, I was pausing because I was waiting to see if you had more on your thought. Because I mean, you're hitting it good. Because I'm in the same opinion. It's so difficult to say. It's one of those things. Even though you are the best player on the team, and Joe Burrow is, we can probably make that assessment true that he is the best player on the field. But how can you put him in a situation where he's hampering the team? A 50% Joe Burrow is probably better than a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL anyway, but he's not doing enough because he's not mobile enough. He's not even doing his dropbacks properly. They can't go deep whatsoever. The offensive line isn't blocking for anybody. How do you expect to win with Joe Burrow? And then it's going to complicate matters because now you're going to get the national media and the local media to be, on your back saying, well, what's going on? What's wrong with this team? But we know what's wrong. You're putting, a Band-Aid approach on a squad that, okay, maybe it's time just to say, maybe sit for 4 weeks, but there's your season anyway. So at least Zach Taylor maybe can say we tried and, it just didn't pan out to save face. I don't know what the solution is here because, I mean, you got Browning as your backup quarterback. I don't think that's sustainable for any long-term success. So, yeah, it's trouble in Cincy. I feel bad for the Cincy fans because, I mean, it's going to be rough.
It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of faith in them. I don't have a whole lot to give them. It's not looking good. Like, it looks like you're just going to have to wait and see if Joe could either heal up or you're playing for next year.
Totally. And fantasy-wise, you going to checking out on a lot of these guys, including Chase right now, or what?
Chase has too much of an upside. He's too talented to check out on. You saw that he could still produce with a hampered Joe. I'm curious to see what he could do with whoever the backup is, whoever they use outside of Joe before I completely pull the trigger on Chase. But the other receivers, I'm out on.
Fair enough. Those Baltimore Ravens staying in that division, it's kind of funny. So I was chuckling to myself as I was like viewing stats, and I'm saying all these new wonderful toys and pieces they got, the Batemans, the Zay Flowers, the OBJ. What did they do this past week? They went back to the well, and what worked well is Lamar Jackson running the football and then feeding Mark Andrews. It's 4 years ago, and Lamar's a rookie, and we just saw it exactly play out the same way on the field. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But then this was the whole thing, what we were trying to discuss, especially myself. I was saying, there's no more excuses, Lamar. You have all the weaponry you require to be successful. I don't want to hear anything for excuses now. OBJ's been injured. Bateman's injured. Zay looks good, but I mean, he's not getting the target share because now he's the wide receiver one with, Nelson Aguilar. So the coverage is going to be all over this man. How are we appropriately identifying what these Ravens are right now? Because it almost seems like it's going to be the exact same squad we've seen for many years just due to injuries, but they weren't looking that good 3 weeks prior with all the guys in there anyway, so I just don't know. They're such a hard team to evaluate.
The injury bug won't leave that team alone.
No.
Like, they just cannot field even like 80% of their offense at one time. It's constant. Even when they did have J.K. Dobbins, they didn't have Mark Andrews. So it's like, when can they just field the entire team and we can see what this is supposed to look like? But I'm with you. I think you hit the nail on the head. It looks like the same offense. And if it doesn't look like the same offense, when they need a play to work, they go back to the same
Right.
offense. So when, they go back to the well, you saw what they had to do to get that win. And that was against a backup quarterback, right? They had DTR playing on the opposite side of the field there. And granted, though, Cleveland's defense is no joke, man.
No
That
joke.
is a fierce defense. Like Myles Garrett, obviously, he's one of the guys that's up for defensive MVP right now. But the whole unit they're coming at you in waves. They got them moving. They got them dominating the line of scrimmage. I just see the Ravens this week as they were just looking at we have to win.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of choked that game against Indianapolis away. They couldn't lose back-to-back games. So I felt like they were probably just under one of those weekly game plans where it was, let's just go to the well. We don't want to do anything risky. This defense is very solidified. We cannot have any turnovers. So they went back to the well. I do think as the season progresses, we're going to see a little bit more of that offense open up as we anticipated. One good thing I did notice is Lamar had a high completion percentage.
He
He was
did.
hitting all his throws. Everything was he was pretty effective. He was pretty efficient in the game. He just didn't have any deep shots really. He had the one to Zay that I think was on like a 2nd and 22 or something crazy, and they completed a
Gorgeous.
30-yard.
Gorgeous
Yeah, that
pass.
was
Yeah.
that was a nice play. But outside of that, him and Zay haven't had a lot of connection. I didn't expect them to have a big game though, not against Cleveland. Going forward, they're going to keep clicking though. I see them. Zay's legit, so they're going to just keep that combination clicking.
I hope
But
so. Go ahead.
no, I'm just concerned though. I'm with you. I think that there is something missing. They haven't found the well yet to where they can really open up the offense and say like, oh, you don't know what's coming. If it's a run, if it's a pass, if it's a play action, if it's a screen, you haven't felt that rhythm yet, right? We're still expecting or waiting for that rhythm to come. I have faith that Lamar has the skills, Zay has the skills, Andrew has the skills. All you need is kind of like 3 key players, in my opinion, to run an offense like that to keep the defense guessing, and then some form of a run game. So I do think they have the formula to do it. It's just let's see if we can get them going.
If Rashad Bateman or OBJ could at least provide that assistance. So like we were talking about the Washington Commanders, where I was saying, Jahan Dotson has been an extremely poor fantasy producer this year, and his role doesn't seem like he's involved, is what you were saying. And then when I was looking at his film, I said, well, he's schematically being used strategically by Eric Bieniemy to pull coverage from other wide receivers. It sucks for him, point wise, statistic wise, but he's an absolute, important piece for this offense and how it actually functions to get other guys open. It's funny because I wonder if you got Bateman into that type of role, whether he's a decent route runner. He can stretch the field to some degree, get him even mid-range. That way Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers can eat over the middle. I think that would be a wonderful way to exploit something in this offense with a healthy Bateman or OBJ. And then, take your 1 or 2 deep shots to these guys in the process of a game. But it's just something about it where they're still, lackadaisical. They're not necessarily super explosive. And I totally expected a different, and it's growing pains. Similarly to, like you said, with the Eagles with the new OC. This is a new OC from the Georgia Bulldogs, too. So it's going to take some time. So, we'll get a better taste of the landscape when it's like week 8, week 9-ish, halfway point of the season. But, I mean, it just sucks because now I can't say there's no more excuses, Lamar, because they're injured all over the damn field. Christ, it makes me mad, but I don't know what to say anymore. But CMC, we're talking Christian McCaffrey. This guy, I just don't know, man. This guy's an animal. He's a beast. He's just not human. And right now, he's legit making a case for league MVP for me. I don't see how anybody can, I get it. It's a quarterback award. But get out of your own way, voters in the league, because the CMC is just tearing it up. Right now, 100% boom rate in fantasy football. 111 points right now, half PBR. Let me break down some of these numbers for y'all if y'all don't know. 80 rushes for 469, 6 touchdowns. He is on pace rushing-wise, 1993 and 25.5 touchdowns on the ground. Receiving-wise, 18 for 141 and 1 touchdown. On pace for almost 600 yards, 4.25 touchdowns. This would give him 25.92 and 29 touchdowns this season if he's on this pace. It's not human, and CMC, I mean, God love him. I got him on my fantasy team, so keep going, man. I love you, but he's unbelievable.
Fantastic. It's sustainable too. That's the part that's crazy. It's not like something that you're seeing as a flash right now. This is absolutely sustainable. The talent has always been there. We've seen him do this when he stayed healthy in Carolina. And then, they cheated and now he's on like an offense that just pushes cheat code buttons and they get points. So you add McCaffrey to Shanahan and this is what you get, right? It's kind of a no-brainer. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just sit back and expect him to score. Like
That's it.
at any time McCaffrey touchdown is free money.
Yeah.
Absolutely free money. Bet it every week.
That's it.
And you'll at the end of the season, you'll be up, way up. He's doing it every week, and you just sit back and enjoy it. The guy is special to watch. Right now, he's definitely the RB1, and I don't think anyone's going to come close to catching him.
Yeah, 100%. So how are we feeling about Brock Purdy kind of pivot towards, because we know how good CMC is. Just want to say MVP right now, as we said today, you're giving CMC MVP?
Oh, yeah, he's the MVP.
100%. Thank you.
Undeniable. CMC, somewhere in there,
Josh
you're
Allen.
going to put Josh Allen. Somewhere in there, you're going to put Tua.
There you go.
And then, we can talk about Brock Purdy. He gets an honorable mention.
We're talking Brock Purdy right now because let's get serious. What is Brock Purdy? We need the couch in the segment here where the music plays and we bring some whiskey. What is Brock Purdy? It's a very interesting conversation for me. I'm still of the opinion that he is likely the best game manager I have ever seen in my life, and that includes Tom Brady. He's fit into this system so damn well. It's like that molding clay when we were kids and Play-Doh, whatever. Like you could just morph it how you want. This is legit what Brock Purdy is to Kyle Shanahan. He tells him something and he does it. He's twists his head a little bit and he does it. It's unbelievable what I'm seeing, but to actually be able to execute on that same respect, I got to give all the props to Brock Purdy, because the system can only take you so far. You still have to execute, and he's executing at every facet of the game. And is this sustainable? This is the one thing that I don't understand, because we've seen a good enough sample size to believe that it is. It's just it's crazy to watch a sixth rounder do this with such high efficiency.
Oh, this is something that we've probably never seen before, and I don't know if we'll see it again, but he's perfect for this. And I think it's a lot to do with him, man. Brock Purdy needs a lot of credit here. As an Eagles fan, I know a lot of Eagles fans don't want to give him a lot of credit. It's the 49ers, though, their fan base and everybody went a little crazy with that, We didn't do it on purpose, but I actually do give Purdy some credit. I think Purdy's a pretty good quarterback. I remember watching him in Iowa because I was a big fan. We both are big fans of Breece Hall. So turning on the tube to watch Breece run, you got to see a lot of Purdy, and you happen to see this guy's pretty good. He was doing his thing there. He's not that quarterback that's going to flash. He's not that quarterback that's going to take over a game or anything like that. But he is he's a true point guard. That's what he is playing football. This guy's a true point guard to the truest form of it, and there's nothing wrong with the point. You want a true point guard. It's essentially what a good quarterback would be. If everything else is elite, your call playing is elite, your play calling is elite, your receivers are elite, your running backs elite, your left tackle is phenomenal. You have an O-line that doesn't get too injured, doesn't get too banged up. Everybody's sustained. All you want is someone that is just pinpointing everything and distributing the ball and just knows exactly how to run the offense, right? He's a perfect point guard. I think this is absolutely sustainable. We're going to see Brock Purdy with Shanahan doing this for a while. And look out, people, because if you don't have a defense that can slow these guys down, you're going to get ran off the field.
It's like Jason Kidd back there distributing. And I mean, what else can you say? It's just so damn good. It's entertaining football. Yes, they lean on Christian McCaffrey. So that's the other question. So if CMC, I mean, pray to God it does not happen. Say he goes down with some injury again, because we know his history, but he looks damn fresh, man. Stay healthy, CMC, because I need you, buddy. But, the thing is, if CMC is gone, I wonder, okay, would they had obviously supplant it with a Debo in the backfield once again and use him as the same role, but I don't think it would be it wouldn't be as efficient, right? Because it's just a different animal, because you have to account for a CMC with three people, which also aids in the fact of Brock Purdy being able to spread the ball around. But I still think they would be successful. That's how crazy this is.
That's where, as you're talking in my head, I'm like, okay, efficient? No. But does that matter?
Right.
Not really, because right now the efficiency is through the roof. You're just smashing people. So, okay, you're not smashing people anymore. You're just going to win by 10.
Right. Right.
Like that's where that's honestly, I'm not even playing. That's where I see them. That's where they're at right now. And it kind of negates our MVP vote when we try to argue for McCaffrey
Sure.
over Purdy, because I'm telling you, if they lose McCaffrey, they're going to keep clicking. If they lose Purdy, we're in problems. We're in
Mm.
problems. And it's
Mm.
not because he is a more valuable like athlete or player in terms of what he brings to the football game, but he's a more valuable player to that offense. We saw exactly what happened when my Eagles knocked him out of the game. There was nothing they could do. Granted, they had to use no quarterback,
Right.
but I don't think a Trey Lance would have took them into that game and just, kept things clicking. We've seen that what they do with Purdy, no incompletions, like
Mm.
this is unheard of. The game looks too easy. He's doing something that others can't do. We've seen other quarterbacks in that room and they haven't done what Purdy's done. So you got to give him his credit. You just got to give him his credit until further notice.
Damn, you totally took away the thunder from CMC because it's facts. I mean, what is the definition of most valuable player? The guy that means the most to the team. And you just said it 100% correct. If you remove Brock Purdy, we saw what happened to this team. You remove Christian McCaffrey, yeah, you can. It's gonna hurt, but you can still use a guy like Debo. And if Debo goes down, I mean, you can use Eli Mitchell. We've seen it to success as well.
Absolutely.
Interesting conversation with Brock Purdy. I mean, maybe he is this next Tom Brady. Damn it, unbelievable stuff from Purdy. So enough chatter about these 49ers. Let's switch gears to Jonathan Taylor. He is being activated off the pup very shortly. Should be ready to go for week 5. Rumors still have it, though. They're far apart on contract talks, and especially with Zach Moss and the way that he's been performing in this offense. How does this work? Rumors also that JT doesn't even want to suit up for these Colts. How is this going to operate? Is he going to play this week? Is he not going to play? Like, I'm so curious to see how this plays out.
This one, I think everybody's just guessing. Nobody really has a good tale on this. Jonathan hasn't talked in a while since since the season started. Pretty much, we haven't heard much from him, right? So since he was put on the pup list, but Shane said he expects him to practice on Wednesday. He expects him to play this week if everything goes smoothly. This is just one of those situations that's just a big conundrum. And I feel sorry for Zach Moss, to be honest. This guy's they've relied on him. They've used him as a workhorse. And now if Jonathan says, okay, I'm ready to go, you're just going to say, all right, Zach, time to hit the bench. Like, it's such a business side of things,
Dumb.
Like, dude broke his arm. Jonathan says, I don't like the way the ownership's treating me. I want out. Then they're like, oh shit, Zach, you with the broken arm. We need you to get healthy and play right now. He rushes back, dominates for you guys, and now if Jonathan comes back, see you later, Zach. So it's such a business thing, and it's such a conundrum all over the place. I don't know what's going to happen. Jonathan, he's a phenomenal player. Obviously, he has elite upside everywhere. So they should be trying to mend that relationship. I don't know if he's been watching the team closely, while he's been away, but it looks like Anthony's the real deal. I kind of like what I see from Anthony Richardson. Aside from taking those big hits, if he's able to start and finish a game, he's been pretty productive. So Jonathan should be itching to get back and want to help that out and see what him and Anthony can do together, because it could be scary.
And that's where I'm at, because I understand every player wants to get their bag, and there's nothing wrong with that. The NFL makes billions of dollars; they want a piece of it, and they're especially for superstar talent like a JT. Who here we have to caveat that as well. He's never been injured. This is his first real injury in his entire football career, basically. I mean, they used him 900 plus carries back in college. He comes to the Colts. He's the workhorse back with the Colts. He doesn't complain. He just keeps producing. Now he wants his money, and y'all are telling him to stick it. I get the pain point and why he's pissed off. But I'm with you. If he gets on this field with A-Rich, it's going to be pretty damn scary. That RPO is going to be ridiculous. I mean, you talk about Michael Pittman numbers right now where I thought, he's overexceeded my expectations for what I thought he was going to do with A-Rich so far this season. You put JT on this field, now you got to fear the 11 men on the field at one given opportunity. And I'm with you, Zach Moss, man, as a Bills fan and seeing Zach on our squad, it was nice to see the man succeed. I won't lie. But, I mean, you got to give credit where it's due. JT on this field with Anthony Richardson is going to be so explosive. I hope we get a chance to see it.
I hope we do too. I definitely hope we do. Early in the season, I was hoping for the trade, just for the fun of football, just to have the storylines, just to see what Jonathan would look like in another uniform. Baltimore would be very interesting. They need a running back of that caliber. But if he's going to stick around, I think him and Anthony Richardson could grow great together. It could be a fantastic thing that they develop down there in Indy. So I'm rooting for him to get paid and come back and stay with Indy. Let's hope him and Irsay can kind of mend that bridge. Irsay's been quiet. He made that one statement. He got a lot of backlash for it, and he's been pretty quiet since. So maybe he's kind of eating some of that chow as well, and he's feeling like, yeah, we're okay. We actually look better than a lot of the pundits in the media thought we'd look after 4 weeks. With Jonathan, we might be like playoff bound.
Potential wild card? Yeah, it's not out of the question, man. You get two stellar options like Anthony Richardson and JT. It's unbelievable. But if he does suit up this week, I'm already saying it. You got to play Jonathan Taylor. I mean, okay, it might be ugly 10 points, but I mean, I think JT is a must start if he does suit up this week.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, man. So the Las Vegas Raiders, it is a big problem in Las Vegas too, my Lord. Will they ever figure this thing out, man? You got a guy like Davante Adams, and I mean, props to the guys like this. He came out, he injured his shoulder, collarbone-ish, and, he said it hurt like hell, but he knew he had to get out there to try to help this club. He said what he said, I had to nut it up to get back out there, and that is a true, okay, for cliche, it's a warrior, man, and that's what he's doing. He is a warrior on the field, and he's willing to put the team on his back. This is what you get from a Davante. But they lose that contest, and he's like, I can't wait anymore. I need to win right now because my career's not going anywhere. And then you got Josh Jacobs coming into the mix saying, I'm feeling the same. I'm tired of losing. I put in all this work, and I'm so sick of losing. I mean, do we see these two get traded before the end of the deadline? Because I'm almost thinking they could push the envelope and say, I want out.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I have been following a little bit of their beefs and their little announcements, I guess, or their, hey, look at me, like we're not happy and we need to do something. But the contracts and Josh just re-upping and the situation, it doesn't seem likely. I'm not too sure what the contracts and the implications would be of dead money and cap space and all that, but it just doesn't seem likely. In terms of Davante, though, like I think a lot of people forget, like he doesn't have a ring. He's had so many wins. He's had so much success. He's had so many playoff runs. He's played with the GOAT, right? Everyone loves Aaron Rodgers, but he got that ring before Davante arrived. So this guy, he wants to win. This is not just a guy that's saying like, yeah, I got my ring and I just want another one. He doesn't have one. So he definitely wants to win. I feel him. I feel his pain. He's burning to get out there and, he's tired of just playing for the stats. And unfortunately for him this year, don't look good. The only way he's going to have that opportunity is in a trade. But like I said previously, I don't know what the cap space and the rendering in that's going to be, but he doesn't seem like the type that's going to demand a trade. He's just going to kind of let his emotions or his feelings be known in a respectful way and then kind of let you do what you want to do with it. So we'll see how the Raiders handle it. Josh looks like the kind of guy that wheels and deals. You give him an opportunity to trade you, he'll trade you. Go back to Denver days. Guy, he'll trade you. So, anything's possible with Josh at the helm.
Yeah, man. He comes from the New England Patriot coaching tree. He's gonna fire up everybody and trade him out before they get even noticed. But I mean, with Jacobs, I could see a trade potentially because it was still only that 1-year deal off the tag that they gave extra money to. That one I could potentially see, but yeah, I'd have to check Davante's contract on the dead cap. But it's an interesting situation because they both. Well, obviously, I said week 4 is usually when we see holdout running backs outside of Emmitt Smith, take off, and we did see that this past week. But Davante's been an absolute killer for this team, even with a Jimmy G who can at least still deal the ball. I mean, O'Connell looked okay. I mean, he was throwing picks, and he threw that horrible pick at the end of the game there. But, I mean, what's to be expected from a late-round rookie quarterback? But these Raiders, man, the Raiders, you guys do not look good, no bueno. But let's talk about a team that is actually going in the right direction. I said this 2 years ago when I was talking about Dorsey and his build with the Detroit Lions, saying he knows how to build clubs, and the Lions look damn good. They look ready to go. We getting J-Mo back off the suspension. He is a hot topic on the waiver wire this week as well. My kind of thing is, what am I expecting out of J-Mo right now? I have a little bit of worry because he's been on the bench for so long that, he was dealing with that hammy injury. He plays with sheer speed. So my fear is that he's going to try so hard to make an impact in his return that hammy might pop again because of how fast he does play. I just want to see him kind of like jog out there. Just do a little jogging, get a little bit fresh, get your football feet out from under you. But with J-Mo, Amon-Ra, Laporta, eventually they'll get Gibbs in the mix. But, I mean, Monty's been running well. This offense is good. You add a guy like J-Mo, it could be great.
Absolutely. That's the one thing they're missing, right? Is just that absolute deep threat, that guy that's going to pull coverage, that's going to give more space for Amon-Ra to work the middle, more space for our boy Sam Laporta. My boy Laporte's reporting. I love that guy, man.
He's reporting.
No. Jameson's speed is unheard of. When he's on the field, he's always the fastest guy on the field. So when he reports and he gets back on the field, it's going to be a problem. That line's offense is clicking. I like what they're doing. I like what Ben Johnson's doing. I like how Jared Goff has total command of that offense. He's got Josh Reynolds looking like a Pro Bowl player potentially. Right? Like I'm surprised that he's even somebody that's on our radar again. Get Jameson, get him in your lineups, pick him up if you can, trade for him, whatever you got to do. I'm high on him. I feel you on the hamstring thing, but man, he's been sitting so long.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to just take a shot at it. You got to just take a shot at it. Hopefully he's ready to run laps around these guys.
He's been sitting a while.
It's a week early too, right? It's a week early that he's coming back. Yeah, because of the new rules, right?
Correct.
So he's smiling. He's ready to go. He's got that juice. He's going, man. I'm excited to see him hit the field.
I want him on a couple more fantasy teams so I can say I'm excited as well. I mean, I was a J-Mo fan back when he was with Bama, obviously transferred from OSU. And I mean, once he went to Bama, we saw how electric he could be with a guy like Bryce Young. You give him a guy like Jared Goff, who is not afraid. And kudos to Goff, man. You see him, he cussed out Ryan Fitzpatrick saying, you called me a lesser Matt Ryan. I didn't think I was a lesser nobody. I mean, kudos to that because you got to, I was rough on him as well. I'll admit when I'm wrong as well. I was rough when he got traded from the Rams and said, well, it's kind of a massive downgrade from a Matthew Stafford. I mean, they're hitting this trade out of the park. Yes, the Rams won the Super Bowl, but, I mean, you had to build in baby steps and building blocks, and Dorsey built this team extremely well, except for, again, we're seeing the usage and lack thereof of a Gibbs. So what are we doing? Okay, I want to talk to you, Coach Campbell. What are we doing here in this running back room? I understand your trust in like the kneecap biting running backs like Montgomery. This guy's got wheels. This guy's got some finesse, man. Use him in the pass game at least. It's not even for fantasy football. It's just as a pure football fan. It's a crime against football to see the shackles being placed on a Gibbs, man. Unleash him, please, this week. When are we going to see this, dude?
Man, it's been tough. It's been hard to see. When they do use them, it seems to just be between the 20s. They never have them on the field in the red zone. They don't seem to scheme up too many plays for him. And the ones that they do, I don't know if it's because I'm cheering for him or not. This might just be a bias, but it feels like they're obvious. So the defense is always waiting whenever the play is schemed. It's like the obvious where he sweeps out and they just swing it to him. And the defense is like, oh, they're probably going to Gibbs. Everyone just run. And then they go to Gibbs and everyone just blows them up. And I'm like, how come they don't do any of the stuff they do with Khalif Raymond, where it's like they catch the defense off guard? Use Gibbs for that. You take all those to the house. I remember I was telling you those things. I'm with you. It's frustrating. It's hella frustrating. But there's a part of me that hopes that they're just saving them, because keep in mind, we have to keep this in mind. They're the only team, and I'm saying this like as a fact, they're the only team that wanted Gibbs that high. Nobody else was going up that high to draft him. Nobody else did go that high to draft him, and nobody had him that high on their mock board. So the Detroit Lions are the team that values him the most. They showed it in real life action, right? So I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to trust them. I'm going to trust Campbell that maybe there's like a long-term plan for him as opposed to the short term. Because they sold out for him. They sold Swift, and we love Swift. Right. So they must see something in Gibbs that they believe in. It's not just someone that they want to just use as a shiny toy and just put him on display to look at. They're going to use him. They got it.
Like a decoy, using him as a shiny decoy, like the Ferrari that sits in the garage and you don't drive it because you don't want to change the brakes for $10,000. Use the damn. Can I get a Texas route at least once, please, Campbell? Please, just once. I want to see what he's able to do against these defenses. It's killing me.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, we saw Kamara come off the suspension. One game. 13 targets? How many did he have?
25 targets.
Something ridiculous. You can't give Gibbs half of that? Come on, guys. Come on, Campbell. You can give him half of that.
Seriously, 13 catches for Kamara, and you can't even give my guy Gibbs 5, and he would take one of those to the house with a Texas route, man.
Absolutely.
Against the cover 2 shell, give him a Texas route, and it's gone. It's a home run. You get me all hot and bothered. I'm sweating over here. Last one I got is another rookie, C.J. Stroud, my guy, making waves. He's looking beautiful, and I mean, I'm not surprised. Am I surprised how quick this is going? Maybe, because rookies do take time, but Stroud looks elite right out the gates. Week 1, okay, he was feeling the field, understanding the game. Now it's like, hey, I'm a savvy veteran, and I'm just dicing these defenses, making Nico Collins look like Randy Moss out there. 62.3% on the completion, 12 in yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. First rookie in NFL history to do that in the first 4 games. C.J. Stroud is playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, all I got to say is F the S2 test. Whoever tried to say that thing was some sort of barometer for how quarterbacks can and cannot play, you can throw that thing in the trash. CJ's clearly the guy, and I want to give you your flowers. You were on the CJ train prior. You were on the CJ train when everybody was jumping off, when everybody was saying Bryce Young, even myself. I was like, well, maybe Bryce might be a little better. And you were like, no. This is CJ. You're 100% right. I think it's 4 weeks. We might be early. I don't think we're too early saying it. CJ's legit. This guy knows what he's doing. I love his poise. I love his confidence. I like how he is at the podium. Recently, after the game, he was telling the fans and like the media of Houston how I want you guys to come here and feel good about being a Texans fan. He's like, I remember being a Lakers fan, and when they lose, I was pissed. He's like, I want you guys to be pissed when we lose and then wear the colors around the city proudly when we win. And that's deep to me. That's not just like chatter or, you know what I mean? He's willing to put the work in. He really wants to represent this team the right way. I think they found themselves a gem, man. I really think they found themselves a gem. This guy's a special talent. We saw the skill at Ohio State. We saw the pinpoint passing. We saw how he made his receivers look great. Everyone thought it was the other way around, but I think it had a lot to do with him as well, right? Jackson Smith and Jigba looked fantastic, and I think a lot of it also had to do with the fact that CJ could just pinpoint him with accuracy. And you're seeing it right now. Tank Dell, I was big on Tank, but even I didn't think Tank could hit the ground like this. Nico Collins, like CJ can do this. He can, as a rookie, doesn't run. He can facilitate and hold fantasy value for 2 wide receivers. Like, this is special, people. This is special. We said last year that the Houston Texans were legit. If you were sleeping on them, I'm sorry for you. They took the Eagles to the brink. They took the Cowboys. They took the I believe it was the Chiefs. They gave all these teams a run for their money. They lost the game, so people forgot about it, but they were real last year, and now they have a quarterback. Look out.
Get ready, man. And you know what we haven't seen from Stroud just yet? When he started slow with Ohio State, you saw, like, okay, everyone has an off game. You saw when he started slow and he came out the gates, he was struggling with his reads, struggling with the passes. The cover 2s were getting to him. We haven't seen this comeback kid yet, and this is probably one of the better parts of this guy's game. When he figures it out in the adjustments in the second half, he is a bat out of hell, and he will not quit, and he will keep going. I saw it more often in OSU than I wanted to see, but it was a great evaluator tool for a scout like me because you got to see heart in on the field play. It's unbelievable. His comeback ability, his poise, his maturation just in these first 4 weeks. Yes, we could be pumping it just a little too early because it could take a massive sidestep now that there's 4 weeks of film. I get that. But I just think it's real. I think the way that he's playing football, the way that he's able to make, like I said, Nico Collins, I was on the fence. I was like, yeah, he's okay. Now Nico Collins making me look foolish because I'm saying he's okay. He's pedestrian. I love me some C.J. Stroud.
Absolutely. No, I think it's for real. I'd rather be dead wrong on this one by jumping in too early than miss it. I think we're right with this one. It's for real. Houston is legit, and CJ is going to be here to stay for a long time. The jury's still going to be out on Bryce. That might be the one that you have to really evaluate for a year plus. But CJ, I'm all in. Sold.
See, and for Bryce, the rumor has it they're trying to bring in a true wide receiver 1 to help Bryce. That says a lot, man, because is Nico a true number 1, or is Stroud lifting up this wide receiver room?
Oh,
see, it's a great.
He's uplifting them. He's uplifting
all of them. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So then
Oh yeah.
we're talking OSU wide receiver team where it was Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Who uplifted whom? Now this is the great conversation I want to go back to eventually. But I mean, it's a great convo to have.
For sure, for sure. And right now, I'm not even sure who the OC is over there. Like that might be just be my ineptitude, but like they're not leaning on big names, right? It's not the receiver, it's not the OC, it's not some true tight end. Dalton Schultz is quiet. It's
Quiet.
CJ. It's the young rookie quarterback, and he's throwing it. He's not running the ball. He's not doing elementary. He's not one read and I'm out. This is high level offense. This is going through progressions. He's dealt with Baltimore's defense. He's dealt with some real teams already. This is very impressive.
It's
This is
Bobby
very, very
Slovic
impressed.
is the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans.
Thank you.
He's doing some business. He's doing the
They're doing
goods. It looks good. It looks good in Houston, and it's just going to be a good team on the rise. Quarter of the season is now officially in the books as we enter week number 5. We got lots of exciting football coming. Waiver wires tomorrow, or actually it's today when this drops, but it's going to be good fun. But Eric, man, thanks again for coming on. This may be a weekly event. Who knows? I think it's good stuff talking football for an hour.
Awesome. Thanks for having me again. Always a pleasure, man. Thanks again.
No worries, man. As always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give us your thoughts. You got anything to say about these topics, drop them in the comments. I'll definitely answer you back, but we'll see you next time. I am out.